deeper and then I'm just the same as I was. Don't you understand? I'm never changing who I am. I love that song. Who are those guys? Something. AOA podcast. Let me say hello to the beautiful chat. Look at everybody's in the house here and ready to go. Oh my gosh. Look at all the beautiful people. Look at all the beautiful people. Uh-oh. We had a wrong chat comment. Uh-oh. I don't even want to know what that is. Don't even want to know. It's your old pal Ant. Welcome in. It's a Wednesday podcast. We've got a lot of clips for you on this episode. We've got a lot of little interesting facts and tidbits, including, do you know where George Costanza's glasses came from? Oh my God, it's very exciting. Plus, Trump administration guru, U.S. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick, weighing in on Epstein, calling Kash Patel and his theory BS. Also, he lived next door to Epstein and had a bunch of interesting stuff to share on a podcast called Pod Force One. So just when you thought, boy, Anthony on Air is a dumb name for a podcast, we also have Pod Force One. And then suddenly it doesn't seem so stupid anymore, does it? I'm just kidding. I'm sure the Pod Force One people are lovely. Don't mind me. I'm in a bad mood. Candace Owens continuing to get into it with the Macrons and leading us into the next thing, which is the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories they've officially reached a new level. And I find myself thinking, boy, am I 100% right on this? Or am I a member of the flock? Am I a sheep? Am I just following what the government tells me, man? Am I not doing enough of my own research? I don't know. We'll talk about it. Plus, a cop sneaking into the Ryder Cup and why that's not good for the current president of the United States of America. Little update on Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. I'm surprised at how many people care about that topic, but it was pretty popular in our clips on social media. So we'll give you a little update there. Did I hit it all? Oh, my favorite topic, a New York City radio station playing porn on the air. Was it an accident? Was it not an accident? I don't know. I have the clip for you, though. All that and more. Lots of fun stuff on this episode. Miss Janine, Miss J-Sabs. She's pretty busy taking care of some things. Also, Frankie C apologizes for not being here. The death of Jane Goodall, too much for his little sweet liberal heart to get over. So no Frankie C on this episode, but hopefully he will be back with us soon as he gets over the loss of Jane Goodall. He texted me like, Jane Goodall passed away. And I texted, actually, I didn't even text him back. I almost texted him back, but was too embarrassed to say, hold on, let me Google who Jane Goodall is. Your old pal Ann's working on a lot of side projects right now. I'm very distracted. I get she was a big deal. I can see on Twitter that she's a big deal. I feel like I've heard of her, seen her things, but other than that, I don't know. I don't know if we're bored right now. I don't know if it's a weird lull, the government shutdown. Nobody really wants to talk about. Notice it's not on our rundown. I don't care. Those two people, I just don't, I can't get involved in the two sides. I can't do it. I can't do it with you guys anymore. I can't weigh in on both sides being grossly disappointing to me and act like one of them is really right over the other one. It's just like, get the fuck along already and do your job. You know, I think if we're going to shut down the government, this is my theory, and you tell me if I'm crazy. I say if we have a government shutdown, then you have 1 week to get it done, or else every elected official loses their job and we go into special elections to reelect more people. That's my little thing. You want to shut down the government? That's fine. But guess what? President on down to the guy who puts the cheese on the nachos in the Capitol cafeteria, all up for special reelection. Shut it down if you need to, but then you lose your gig. If we tied in the government operating to the people responsible for operating the government, I think we would have a lot more success. Because I don't know about you, but that kind of happens with stores. Stores tell their employees, hey, if we don't sell enough of our product, we will go out of business. You will be out of a job. Stores just don't shut down and then continue to pay their employees. It doesn't work that way. Store shutting down, the employees are going bye-bye. That's it. Same should hold true for the friggin' government. All right, enough already. Howard Lutnick on Jeffrey Epstein. This is pretty interesting because Lutnick, for those of you who don't know, is our commerce secretary. So he's in charge of everything commerce, including any website that has a .com address, which is short for commerce, by the way. I don't know if you guys know that, but I took internet research in high school. Yes, that was a real course in my high school. Internet research was a real thing. There was a time, gather around kids, pre-ChatGPT, where the internet was such a new thing that schools offered courses on how to search for information on the internet. And you're like, what, did you just Google stuff for that long? Google wasn't even around when internet research was offered as a class in my high school. Shout out class of 2000, Archbishop Malloy. What's up, everybody? Say hi to Chris Stefano, who might be or might not be making our list of the top 250 comedians of all time, or of right now, I should say. We're working on a list. We should have it in about 2 weeks. No, it's pretty ambitious. We're going to give you a list of the funniest. I think I said 500. I think I'm going to go down to 250. Might still do 500. I don't know. I sound like Donald Trump right now. But in 2 weeks, we should have it for you. And it'll be the hottest top comedians of the moment, because that's what I feel like everybody needs, is a little bit more laughter. And I'm so intertwined into the comedy world that I'm going to put this list together for everybody to enjoy. And then you guys can follow on their socials, subscribe to their podcasts, watch their specials on YouTube and Netflix and all that stuff. Paul, I see you, Paul. I see you, and I see your suggestion. And let me just say this. Big fan. Huge fan of who you just said. Massive fan. Massive. The struggle with this list becomes, where do you put everybody? You know, because the person you just named doesn't sell out arenas, but is so brilliant. And I love her so much. She's got to have a pretty decent spot. But again, no Netflix specials, no, arena tours, but she crushes. Her clips crush on social media. You know, she's always so funny, always makes me laugh. That counts for something. So she might not be top 10, might not be top 20. She's going to be high up on the list. I guarantee you that. Howard Lutnick is the Commerce Secretary, member of the Trump administration, Trump ally, big time in the Trump organization, I would say. And he was on Pod Force One, the New York Post podcast, and he called Jeffrey Epstein the greatest blackmailer ever. He recounts a visit once to Epstein's townhouse because, believe it or not, Lutnick lived next door. So I guess he and his wife got a tour of the townhouse where Epstein showed off the massage room. And Howard Lutnick went over to him and said, "Why do you have a massage room in the middle of your house here?" And he says, "To get a massage." And then he leans it. Oh, God, this is so creepy. This is exactly how Lutnick recounted this exchange. He found the massage room during a tour of the Manhattan apartment. Lutnick says, quote, "I say to him, massage table in the middle of your house? How often do you have a massage?" Epstein responds, "Every day." And then he gets closer to me. This is Lutnick talking, like weirdly close to me. And he says, "And the right kind of massage." You know, women say like, "Oh, he gives me the ick," or "he gives me the ick." Like, I don't really know. Like, people don't. I mean, I know what they're saying, but when I read something like that, to me, that's like, oh, that's what the ick is. That is like creep personified. Could you imagine somebody leaning in and going, "And the right kind of massage"? Like, get the fuck away from me, you weirdo. You fucking weirdo. I don't know about you, but like I remember I've had some weird exchanges with people where they like say things to me at perhaps inappropriate times, or just like the timing is wrong, or it's like I know, like There's a couple of times, some people I'm thinking of where like I've said to me, I'm like, they say something to me and I go, well, you're married, right? You're married. Like, I don't want to know what you're doing in your marriage. Like I don't want to know what's happening. Like, don't say weird shit like that. Like, and by the way, I don't know if you know this about your old pal Aunt, but I will go along with a lot. Like if you say something to me, like, and I don't necessarily agree with it, but I don't want to fight with you, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, cool. Because I've learned in life that there's like, you can go 10 different ways on any given thing, life decisions or just daily life or where you want to have lunch. Like you can make 10 choices and they'll all be just fine. Like everything is not life or death. So if I want to go this way and you say we got to go that way, I'll look at it and be like, if this isn't worth the argument and I'm still going to wind up where I need to be, then great. But if you say something that's creepy or bizarre, I won't go. I'll be like, okay, I have no problem having that awkward interaction if it's something that I don't agree with. And that has happened to me a couple times. It happens to me a couple times. Like a lot of times, like the kids' parents at my kids' school, like, you talk to them and you're trying to get to know these people. You're sitting at some fucking event that you don't want to be at. And then they'll just say something weird. And you're just like, all right, I can't stand next to you anymore. I don't know what you're talking about. In radio, that kind of happened a lot. In the professional settings that I've been in my career, like that's happened numerous times where people like behind closed doors will say something to me and I'll be like, the fuck? Okay. Like, I'm not going to agree with you just to get, it just seems like weird. So the right kind of massage, I'd be like, okay, let's get out of here. Honey, we're never coming back to this house again. We're just not going to come back here. Lutnick made another big time claim, which was that he went on to suggest that some of Epstein's high profile friends and associates would have participated in using the massage room and alleged that the encounters involving young women and girls were then filmed by the billionaire financier. That sounds familiar. Who else has been saying that for the longest time? Oh, us. And like everybody in the live chat and all of our subscribers. Yeah, we've all been saying that. Lutnick said, quote, they get a massage and that was his MO. Get a massage. And what happened in that massage room, I assume, was on video. This guy was the greatest blackmailer ever. That's how he had the money. Lutnick's claims went on to contradict Kash Patel, what he said about the late pedophile while being grilled by the Senate Judiciary Committee back in September. During an exchange with Republican Senator John Kennedy, Patel told the world there's no credible information to suggest Epstein trafficked young women to his friends or associates. Patel said, and I quote, if there were, I would bring the case yesterday that he trafficked to other individuals. Those remarks were immediately condemned by anybody with a brain. Including a group of Epstein victims who issued a joint statement saying they were struggling to understand why Patel would suggest otherwise. The statement at the time said, even the limited information that has been made public includes accounts such as Virginia Giuffre's report that Epstein trafficked her to other individuals besides himself. We also understand that there are FBI reports documenting witness interviews in which victims of Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell named at least 20 other men they were trafficked to. Lutnick went on to explain his belief that Epstein used compromising videos to secure that 2008 sweetheart deal that allowed him to avoid federal child sex offenses and instead served an 18-month prison sentence for soliciting a minor for prostitution. The deal also let Epstein go on work release to go to his office during his sentence. We feel, and I have to go back because again, we've done 1,000 videos on this. Go back and check out our YouTube playlist. I know all our hardcore AOA holes are getting tired of hearing me say this, but go to our YouTube channel, search our playlists for Epstein. We've got hundreds of videos, hundreds. But I'm pretty sure we know he got on a plane that he wasn't supposed to during this time period and flew to New York, flew from Florida to New York and back again on his private jet during his work release when he wasn't supposed to be. Lutnick says, I assume way back when they traded those videos in exchange for him getting that 18-month sentence, which allowed him to have visits and be out of jail. I mean, he's a serial sex offender. How could he get 18 months and be able to go to his office during the day and have visitors and stuff? There must have been a trade. So my assumption, I have no knowledge, but my assumption is there was a trade for the videos because there were people on those videos. It certainly would explain a lot. And you might be thinking to yourself, Ant, it's Howard Lutnick. It's the Commerce Secretary. Who gives a shit? It's still a member of the Trump administration. You know, I give Lutnick credit for one thing. He did not fall into line with everybody else who has just been like, what, Epstein? I don't know. You want the Amelia Earhart in the records? You know, he's not falling in line with all the other people that are and are just defending Epstein in his death. He is at least stepping up and being like, yeah, he probably traded, you know, he's at least acknowledging like, yeah, of course there was videos. Like, we know there was videos. The FBI said there was videos. And then Kash Patel was like, well, I don't know, there's a deal and we can only go with what's with the deal. And then everything outside of that doesn't matter. It's like, no. So credit Lutnick. It's why it's our lead story. We will not forget the Epstein stuff. We will not forget the Epstein victims. Even though there's government shutdowns and 20-point peace plans and all this wonderful stuff that is going on in our country at the moment, we cannot forget that this Epstein debacle is continuing in this administration. Cannot forget it. So it's our lead topic. I have to say this about our wonderful AOA holes, because I referenced you guys just a second ago. We have a Discord. There's a link in the description below on this episode. If you're not in our Discord, you should be. There's a membership area which you have to pay to be in, which is special and fun. The Discord, you don't have to pay to be in. That's for everybody. But I jumped in there just to let everybody know, hey, show's going to start a little late. Just so everybody was aware. It's taking care of some things at the house here. And the response from the AOA holes brought such a smile to my face. I can't tell you how you guys cheer me up. Like, wasn't a great day for your old pal Ant. I would tell you what happened, but there's nothing remotely informational or entertaining about it, so I'm not going to waste your time. But not a great day. I said to everybody, hey, we're going to start. Sorry, at this time, sorry for the delay. And there was a lot of like fun. Some of these I don't even get. But 3 people used a chair emoji, which I feel like we've become the official podcast of the cuck chair. I don't know if we've become the official podcast of cuckolding, but as far as the cuck chair goes, I don't know if there's another podcast that has used the 2 words cuck and chair together more. And to see people just using a chair emoji as an emoji, for that to be even a thing, it just makes my heart smile. You know what I'm saying? Like, it just makes my heart smile. So I don't know if you guys can see this, but I want to thank you guys for that. And you can kind of see it's a little chair emoji. And there's a potato, and there's also toilet paper, which I assume that means shit, but it still made me laugh, still made me chuckle. But the fucking cuck chair, the smile it brought to my soul, I have to thank you all for that. Because again, podcasts, the entertainment is supposed to go this way. It's supposed to go from the podcast to the podcast listeners and viewers. Feels like it's coming this way a lot more than it should be, It really feels like it should be. Fucking Lindarella, we made the chair trending. Yeah, I think so. Yeah. The chair, that's like... What you did was you ruined a chair emoji. You've turned a chair emoji for like, hey, do you want to sit? Or there's a chair over here or whatever. You've turned it into a foul, filthy representation. And I love it. And I love you for it. I love you for it. Christella said, you said you were running late, thought you might need some TP. Let me tell you something. Let me give you a little note here. I was talking to a friend of mine who just became a cancer survivor. Chemo, had surgery, the whole 9 yards. And I checked in to see how he was feeling. And it took him a little while to get back to me. He's obviously going through some stuff. He's still in a little bit of pain, all that. So he's telling me all the things post-surgery and all this stuff. It's an incredible journey. But finally, at some point, I had to tell him, because this was on Saturday. And I texted him back and I said, I don't know if you know, but I haven't shit in 4 days. So I understand that you're dealing with some stuff, but have a little perspective, because I haven't pooped in 4 days. And he got it. He was like, oh, I'm sorry. I didn't mean to burden you with my problems, which are seemingly not that big of a deal when you're dealing with 4 days worth of shit in your intestines. I'm like, thanks. I appreciate that. It's you got to read the room. I said to him, okay, you have cancer, but there's cancer doctors. There's cancer hospitals. There's full hospitals that are just dedicated to healing people of cancer. There's no hospital I could go to for being backed up for 4 days. Okay. I can't go see a doctor and be like, I haven't pooped. Can you help me? I mean, I guess there's laxatives, but still, I just, I'm just saying, I didn't shit for 4 days. It was a real medical issue. These cancer treatments. So we immediately flipped the conversation over and I started telling him about my diet and everything else. And he just sat there and listened. So it was a good exchange. It was a good exchange. What a fucking asshole. That's my way of telling everybody that I'm happy that a friend of mine just beat cancer. So congratulations to that person. I would say who their name is, but I don't know if they want that shit out there. By the way, not an hour after my conversation with him, I pooped. It was magical. It was magical. I damn near hit my head on the ceiling when it finally all came out. It looked like a fucking Old Faithful for a second, just, but shit. So it was great. I'm no longer backed up. I am no longer backed up. Although I ate really poorly last night. So it's part of the reason why I'm having a tough tummy day today. Speaking of tough tummy days, Candace Owens doubling down on the quote unquote smear campaign of gender lies against the French president's wife, according to this new lawsuit. So Owens is facing a renewed defamation lawsuit from Emmanuel Macron and his wife, Brigitte Macron, after she unequivocally doubled down on her, accusations that Brigitte is transgender. A massive 250-page complaint in a Delaware state court was filed after the Macrons filed an initial lawsuit accusing Owens of a relentless and unjustified smear campaign across her platforms, including in an 8-part podcast and social media series, all designed to feed a frenzied fan base in the pursuit of fame. Owens has endorsed, repeated, and published a series of verifiably false and devastating lies about the French president and his wife, according to this latest complaint. After the initial lawsuits, Owens has continued to use her podcast to expand these claims about the Macrons selling merchandise, making fun. Is she selling merchandise? That's amazing. I thought we had a merchandise. I thought this was like, I don't care who you vote for. It was so like, ooh. You can buy that in our store, by the way. Link in the description below or at anthonyonair.com. But I never had that's really interesting. So-and-so is a transgender person, buy this shirt. I don't even, what would that, now we have to go, we got to go to our website. I have to know what kind of a shirt she's selling. Is it like, what would that even be? I hugged Brigitte Macron and felt a stabbing in my leg. And then all I got was a Slousy t-shirt. Like, how I am so curious. I can't believe in my show prep, it never dawned on me to look and see what kind of gear she's selling. All right, let's see. Candace Owens merch. It's time to, you're not getting a personalized search. Okay. All right. I don't know what that means. Okay. Can you leave me alone? How do I? Okay. I don't know. I just turned something on. I don't even know what the fuck it was. Okay. Here we go. Candace Owens shop. Is it in the new arrivals, do you think? Where does one put defamatory merch? Is there a defamatory section? Is there a batshit crazy section? Let's put the most batshit crazy stuff I've ever said next to our clearance section. All right, what the fuck is this? I have to see this one. Hold on. Is this her face? Candace Intelligence Agency. All right, I don't hate that as much as I should. It's not bad. That's not bad. I get for her audience. I mean, I hate it. I hate it. Just as a podcast host, I hate it. But I acknowledge it. Where do we go here? Oh, okay. How do I get back? All right, let's go back. CIA, lots of CIA stuff. What is this? Something I know. These aren't great designs. We don't know. No, but we know. Oh, is that like something she says? All right, let's see. Is there a defamatory? Oh, look at this. Nimi Candace, modern skincare, timeless values. She does have lovely skin. I get. These are weird pictures. Why are these? Don't these look like milk carton pictures? Like Candace Owens went missing this afternoon. That middle shot is not. Did she know she was taking a photograph there? Why is she wearing a gold chain like it's 1996 again? Jesus Christ. I think she might have gotten that right off of my cousin. That's the way my cousin used to dress. All right, anyway. Good for her. She could sell skincare. Like I can't sell skincare. That would be like me selling like beard trimmers or something like that. It'd just be fucking stupid. All right, I'm guessing, is this new arrivals? Let's see. All right, got a lot of the CIA stuff. I stand with Candace. Kind of dumb. She's really going off on this Candace Intelligence Agency bit. American wife. Okay, that's interesting. Unfiltered free. More milk carton. This is it? This is all the shit? Standis cups. T-shirts, hoodies, crew necks. All right, let's see if it's in the T-shirts section. It's time to begin, isn't it? Well-behaved woman. Okay. Make him a sandwich. Okay. Girls just want to have manly men. Okay. Anti-feminist. Interesting. It looks like the Friends thing. Is that a thing now to be anti-feminist? Well, I'll tell you what, I gotta give the right credit. They've developed new categories I didn't even know existed. I don't see any Brigitte Macron. Maybe it's on sale. No products found. Use fewer filters or remove all. Okay, let's remove all. Nope, still no dice. You know what makes me happy? Because Candace Owens is quite larger than your old pal Aunt and the AOA podcast here. But it's nice to see that her site is shittier than ours. Like, I can't believe we found a website that would make us feel better about our own shit website. That's what it's amazing about this. You'd be like, Candace Millions is got 5 million followers, but her website sucks. Make him a sandwich. I mean, I do like sandwiches. Yeah, I don't know. I don't see any of the. Let's see. Candace Owens, Brigitte Macron merch. Holy shit. Is this in Walmart? Is this fucking for real? No. Come on now. Walmart selling this shirt? We couldn't find this page. Okay. Yeah, that doesn't seem right. I don't think. I see it over here, though. Oh, so she's got it as a Man of the Year shirt, and it's a picture of Brigitte Macron. Outside from the obvious transgender bias there. Meh. I see the joke. I wouldn't do this. This is not what I would do. And I don't encourage it either. Just looking at it from a craft perspective, It's hack. It's not that great. I can't believe she's selling this shit. Like that can't be worth it for the amount of millions that they're going to sell her for, sue her for. You can't make that on. There's no margin on a T-shirt that can make up a defamation case lawsuit. She's fucking dumber than I thought, and that's saying a lot. That is saying a lot. A lot. All right. Anyway, where was I? After the initial lawsuits, Owens continued to use her podcast to make these claims, sell merchandise for making fun of the Macrons, and collect donations based on her reporting on the Macrons. Interesting. Owens has since alleged that Brigitte participated in the Stanford prison experiment and has gone so far as to suggest that the Macrons are involved in an alleged conspiracy to distract Owens from investigating Charlie Kirk's assassination. That's what I love about Candace Owens. That's my favorite thing. It all ties back in. It all ties back in. Because the Jews killed Charlie Kirk, which we'll get to in the next segment. And the Macrons now are trying to distract her from getting to the truth. What? How do you get on these people are so delusional. I can't even keep up with it anymore. I can't. Like it all, like, and that phrase, like a clock is at least a dead clock is right twice a day, or a broken clock is right twice a day. I say this with Alex Jones too. Like every now and then they're going to get something right. And then that's going to just take them for the next 10, 15 years. So I'm sure Candace Owens is going to get something right here. And we'll get into this with the Charlie Kirk theories. But saying somebody had a sex change, I mean, you better be damn sure. I mean, this seems pretty easy to refute and pretty easy for them to just sue the shit out of her for everything that she has. I'm keeping an eye on this because, again, it's a free speech issue to a degree, but defamation is a thing. It is free speech, but you can't just defame somebody. That's a law. So I really want to see where the world is at with that. But let's move on to, so again, there's a new lawsuit for this now. So 2, if you're counting at home, against Candace Owens. We'll keep our eye on it. We'll keep you updated. Because again, I don't know if there's a way to tell all that stuff, a DNA test or whatever, or this or that, or I'm not entirely sure. I'm not a transgender expert. But I do know that this was what's that meme from Dodgeball? Ballsy play, Cotton. Let's see if this pans out for her. The fuck does he say? That's what I feel like this move is for Candace Owens. It's a bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it pays off for her. That's how I feel. I'm going to make that shirt. Put Candace Owens' stupid face on it. Ballsy move, Cotton. Let's see if the strategy pays off for her. I don't know. I don't really know. It's one thing to pontificate about this stuff or think about it, but it's another thing to put together an 8-part series and be like, oh, this is absolutely what it is. That's what's also so compelling about Candace Owens. I watch her clips and stuff and I go, she's so sure. She is so sure. At a time where everything we say, although we report facts that are backed up with quotes or, whatever, like we do our best to be journalists, like 2 days later, shit is proven wrong all the time. So even when I have something dead to rights that I know it's for certain, I still tell everybody, like, this could change in like 2 days. Like we could find out more and it'll be a whole different thing. Like she goes into all her little things like this is absolutely, Brigitte Macron was born with a penis, and follow along for the rest of the 8-part series. I'm just like, that's balls your old pal Aunt does not have. It really, I do not have. I have to talk about the Charlie Kirk conspiracy theories. At first, I felt like these are all beyond batshit crazy. I have gotten to the point where I'm like, these are most likely all batshit crazy. I don't want you to think I'm drinking the Kool-Aid here, although some would argue that by believing the government story, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid. But I'll tell you. All right, let me play this clip from another podcast that I don't know from Adam. And by the way, I'm at a time now where it used to be difficult to get a microphone, a board, a studio, have the equipment, the lot. It used to be difficult to do this. And now that it's so easy, it's hard to stand out as somebody who tells the truth on these things. Because any schmuck who just plays into these crazy conspiracies gets way more engagement than people who are just trying to tell you what's really happening. But I saw this clip, and I'm going to play it for you. And I thought to myself, this is fucking crazy. Like, this is really getting out of hand. That's why I saved this clip from the get-go. And then something happened, and I started to think twice about it. And I'll tell you what that is after I share the clip with you. I want to preface that at this moment, I still believe Tyler, what's his name, Robinson, whatever the fuck it is, the guy we think did it. I still believe that. But I'm going to share some things with you, and I want your opinion. Comment below. Put it in the live chat. Let's talk this one out. Because shit's getting fucking crazy, nutty, and out of hand. Okay, I want to shout out Strange Sauna Show. I'm sorry, guys. I mean you no disrespect. I hope you're happy that I'm playing your clip. But Strange Sauna Show gives us this clip here on their TikTok. Good for them. And I want you to take a listen to it. I don't know. I'm doing what gets done to me, which I hate, which is not give
the guy
like
in the
full,
brown shirt. He pulls up a sleeve at the exact same time you hear
does not give a full thing. So I want to. So Strange Sauna Show. Find out more about those guys. Okay, find out more about those guys. They got a big following on TikTok. Okay, so these guys might be they got something cooking here. So good for them. All right, let me bring this off the screen here for everybody. Okay. So take a listen to what they put together and what they're saying about the Charlie Kirk thing.
Sure, he pulls up a sleeve at the exact same time you hear the shot. Did this guy pull something that activated a squib or activated a detonation inside of either Charlie Kirk's microphone, like his lapel?
Which actually would make sense with the way his shirt pops off, the way he falls to the opposite side. That would explain why nobody else got hit by the bullet.
You see the crew jump in behind this guy jumping over right here. Grabs whatever device off of Charlie Kirk's neck, right?
The one guy grabs the squib, gives it to the guy with the polo. He puts it in his pocket. Now, the other guy that I once said, press the remote for the squib, takes the remote, puts it in the other guy's pocket.
Yeah, they're exchanging something for sure.
Right.
There's a guy with the blue, puts it in his pocket. Here's the guy with the remote, puts it in his pocket.
I found this thread on X. The DJI Mic 2 is a wireless microphone with a rectangular magnetic clasp. On that day, Charlie had the microphone mounted with the bulk of the device underneath his shirt. This is the battery for the DJI Mic 2 that was underneath Charlie's shirt. This is an 8-gram, 300 milliamp hour battery. If this thing exploded, he's saying that's the amount of power that the bullet, the 30-06 would have. It would match that and leave the 75% of the battery functional, undetected.
If it was the battery inside that, they want to grab it.
Yes.
Because there'd be residue. If residue is left on the battery and the battery's touching the ground, then the ground has residue on it, like gunshot residue. So that's why it may not have been like they were looking for the bullet. Maybe they were just trying to clean it up because they're going to come out and say there was an explosive.
Yes, dude.
And by the way,
and that's why they tore up the ground.
Yeah.
they are taking out the whole platform where he was sitting, and they are constructing a new one, as you could see. So that's what the change is.
If it was an exploded device and they wanted to remove the ground to get rid of that residue, I think that is a brilliant theory right there.
Okay. So go check out their full episode. There you go. These guys, I gotta love these guys. Fucking Robin goes, these guys are nuts. Let me tell you something. I'll tell you where you lose a lot of credit with me. I'll tell you where you lose a lot of credit right
Charlie
off the
Kirk's
bat.
microphone.
Let me skip to the
Explain
exact
why
moment.
nobody else.
Okay. Sunglasses inside. Stop it. Also, I don't know if you can see the microphone that this gentleman is using has a light inside that changes colors. Watch.
Got hit by the
Look
bullet.
at this
You
microphone.
see the crew jump
Did
in
you see
behind.
how it went from like
That
teal
would
to
explain
pink?
why nobody else got hit by the bullet.
You see the crew.
Okay, that is like a cheap shit toy. I used to laugh at people that had microphones like that. I still kind of do. So, but kudos to those guys. They seem like they have built an audience over talking batshit crazy. There's no hate from me. I think there's actually nothing wrong with spitballing conspiracy theories. Like, it could be a lot of fun. I again wouldn't really do it here unless I really knew what I was talking about or had hardcore facts. You can tell they don't, and that's fine. Good for them again for making a show out of this stuff. All the credit in the world. But where I take issue with it is it's just you're talking crazy shit. Let's break it down. People are freaking out over the fact that the university is ripping up the ground and everything like that. These guys say to get rid of the residue, or the blood, or the blood, which there probably was a ton of on the floor when all was said and done. Judging by just how much came out immediately that we all saw, that might make you want to just tidy up the area a little bit. Also, everybody who went to that camp, what a horrific thing to relive every single day. So if you want to change up some features on it, I don't think that's out of the ordinary. I think it's easier to clean residue from an explosive device than blood. That's just me. Again, we're not talking about a huge explosive device, but a little tiny one that they're claiming that this is. I think that residue is easy to kind of sweep up or mix up with dirt and whatever. Then there's a whole person's entire blood out on the pavers here. Why don't we just get some new pavers in here? I don't think that that's crazy. Okay. That aside, this whole, this first guy.
At the exact same time you hear the shot.
Okay. First of all, I don't know if it's a weird video sync thing, but I hear the gunshot. I see Charlie's impact before the guy tugs his shirt. Is that blindly obvious to everybody else? Let me play.
He pulls up a sleeve at the exact same time you hear the shot.
It's not. He pulls up his sleeve well after the shot rings out, and you could already see Charlie's body moving around. So that's bullshit. Sorry. I know there was another guy behind him, and he said, "Oh, did he give this signal and all that stuff?" Listen, that I can buy into more. I don't know if anybody needs to be given a signal to do that. Like steal a bit. Now's the time to no. I think when you have a shot, I think if you're trying to assassinate somebody, the second you have it is the second you take it. I don't think he's sitting there thinking oh, what could be more cinematic? I'll have to wait. You go down. Phil's going to go down and signal me. Actually, no, are we still blaming Jewish people for this? What's a good Jewish name? I don't even know. Larry, what was Larry David's Labe? I think the real name is Labe. They call him Larry. Labe is going to signal me from the fucking, and that's the moment we'll take the shot and we'll do this for Israel, everybody. All right. I don't think we need that, but is it possible that other people were in on it, or there was a moment? Maybe. Fine. This one I don't particularly believe. Okay, I don't believe it. The idea of a little DJI microphone, which I've worked with before, I have one around here somewhere. I have Oh, no, I don't have one in me. Okay. But I've worked with those things before. And could that explode and kill somebody? I don't know. I also feel like if it's a squib, which is the things that like mimic gunshots in movies, they call those squibs. If that thing really exploded and sent like shrapnel up into Charlie, like, I mean, I guess it's possible that something like that happened, but what are the chances? Right? What are the chances? And then all you hear are these stories about that Tyler's not really the person, and the text messages, and like Candace goes on and on about the timeline, and that the father turned them in and all this stuff. And now I think we're learning that it was the roommate who might be transgender or not. I don't even know. They were the one, the driving force. But I see things like this and I go, who cares who was the driving force? And by the way, it's possible that it gets reported one way and that the facts were slightly skewed, but that we wound up in the same area too. Like, it doesn't really, whether it was dad or the roommate or the lover or whoever, does it really matter? And let's also keep in mind too that we were getting this information from the president of the United States, from the governor of Utah. These are supposed to be your people that are not part of conspiracies, right? In Trump we trust, says Candace and everybody else, until something like this comes out. And then is the president lying? Or is the president just falling for it like everybody else? I have a lot of questions. But the way all this information came out at a time that we were dying for information on what exactly happened, far too soon from when a normal investigation would wrap up and give you those solid answers. So shit like that is going to get caught up in the mix all the time. Yes, I'm aware, and we've talked about the guy who said he shot him and he pulled his pants down and it turned out there was kiddie porn on his phone and now he's in jail. I think that's weird. That's all part of it. That's very strange and weird. I don't debate that. The signal guy from the back, I don't think you need that to do what was done to Charlie, unfortunately, in these cases. But okay, if you need that too, then fine. People talking about all this stuff, I'm just like, I don't really get it. Am I being the naive one here? Because I think it was a bullet. Everybody's talking about exit wounds and all this stuff. And okay, the exit wound thing, I have no explanation for. Everybody's basically saying if he got shot here, we would have seen it come out the other way. That it was weird, like weird looking. Then they're also saying that the angle of the shooter would have been coming from this way. So if he got shot here, why did he go back this way? I don't really have an explanation. Like, I mean, he would go back and just like whatever, his weight would whatever. But again, we're not really there until I see somebody from the ground show me exactly where Charlie was and exactly where the shooter was, which I just don't think that they actually know. I think they know he was on that roof, but not exactly where on that roof. Like, I think even if you move 10 feet over, like where they think he might have been, if they're still possible, that would have sent him back the way he was. It sounded like a gunshot. There was a lot of people like, well, he disassembled the gun. And I saw a video of him walking funny because he had the gun like in his pant leg. Now, whether that's true or not, or where the gun got dumped or where the towel was and whatever from the site, could they be lying and making all that stuff up? I guess so. But it is a really interesting leap to me to blame Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu. All right, now listen, I picked on Candace Owens the other day because we saw that letter that Charlie Kirk had wrote to Benjamin Netanyahu that he wanted to help him and do all this stuff. Enough kind-hearted people who didn't call me a moron and an idiot wrote me back, and it was like, hey, look into this a little bit more. Charlie was changing his mindset on Israel and all that. Fine, totally fair. I can go for that. I mean, we all know that Benjamin Netanyahu has really been stretching support for him to the T, right? A lot of the things that he's been doing lately, and by lately, I mean the last like 3 months or so, has put his biggest supporters in a bit of a tough spot. Gaza and all that, right? Those are complicated issues. So I could see him turning on that. But again, with everything that Israel is dealing with, losing Charlie Kirk as an ally doesn't warrant his assassination for me. Like, Charlie Kirk was important. Charlie Kirk was a significant individual. Obviously, in his passing, his lore has grown. Okay? I just don't think he's that important in the grand scheme of things for Israel. And I'm not getting paid. I'm just looking at this as a radio host turned podcaster with some common sense going, I could understand killing world leaders. I could understand killing, I understand political assassinations and the importance of that. But Charlie Kirk, Candace Owens, Tucker Carlson, Don Lemon, like you name it. The amount of people that are popular and have a following, like everything is so skewed right now, you'd have to kill 40 people in order to have your way. Just killing Charlie Kirk is not going to do anything. Like, assuming that I could buy into it and be like, all right, let's play with this for a second. Israel did it. I just don't see it. Even if I'm going to believe this Hamptons meeting that Candace Owens claims is true, even if I can go along with that, even if I can go along with people like, oh, we can't lose Charlie as an aide and all that stuff, I just don't really necessarily fathom that Israel, Benjamin Netanyahu, would be like, who's got to go? Charlie Kirk. Like, he's causing too much of a problem for us. Like, he's going to flip on us and then we're going to look like Israel doesn't need Charlie Kirk's support. They need the president of the United States. They need the British prime minister, the crown. They need, country, like they need things. Every country has a Charlie Kirk. The United States of America has fucking 50 Charlie Kirks. Now, granted, Charlie was a special again, I will forever give him kudos for being like, this is my lane and there's nobody else here and I'm going to drive this and I'm going to build a community. And he did that. That's not easy to do. I know that that's not easy to do. I didn't always agree with everything he said. I opposed a lot of what he said. But I love the spirit of let's mix it up. Let's chop it up a little bit. Let's talk about it. I disagree with you. You disagree with me. Let's sit here and try and make each other look like assholes. I love that. That's essentially podcasting. It's still not big enough of an influence to get a leading country. Like, I don't think Benjamin Netanyahu is like that concerned with it, nor would I think any leader would be. It's different if somebody in your own country is causing enough of a stir that it could wind up you're getting ousted. That's one thing. But even if Charlie Kirk possessed that power, I mean, you're talking about months and years of him actually being able to harness it to cause Benjamin Netanyahu any sort of danger that he would be like, hey, let's put a little remote detonator and then create this vast conspiracy theory, get the FBI involved and everything just to get rid of this guy. Like, it's too much work. It's fucking far too much work. I don't think any international organization would be on board with anything remotely close to this. Again, Charlie Kirk was a significant figure in the media world, in the political landscape, and even with that status, still not important enough for a world leader to be like, that guy's got to go. I can't. I'm going to need a lot more information for you to convince me to change my mind. Let's see here. Bird, I don't know, maybe that important that the American people like Israel and agree with what they do. And did you see Charlie interview with Ben Shapiro the day before he died? You got to watch the end how Ben reacts to his question about Israel. TD, just give me a brief, give me a 2-sentence brief on what it was. I trust you. Paul says support for Israel is at historic lows. I don't doubt that. I mean, again, that's a complicated thing. It's a very complicated issue with a long, complicated history. You know, I said this a long time ago after October 7th that Benjamin Netanyahu's got to go out and do his thing and protect his people. But I said, you can go back to the podcast episodes. It's going to get to a point where people are going to start, there's going to be backlash against him because they're going to take it too far. You hope they don't take it too far. And I think that they've taken it too far for a lot of people, you know, and everything that's going on in Gaza is not great. The 20-point plan puts it all in perspective. You know, it puts it all in perspective. Let me skip around comments here. There's a lot good coming out. Netanyahu is a problem. You know, it's Netanyahu has done a lot of great things, but Netanyahu is a problem is not a false statement because he's also done some things that you go, you know, again, he hasn't held an election in his country because there's a lot of investigations against him and abuse of power and all that kind of stuff. And he's like, well, we're in a war. We can't have an election now. We can't do all this. We can't do all that. Yeah, the corruption, the jail. Yep. See, yeah, Paul's like, I mean, again, it's incredibly complicated. Because on the one hand, you feel for these group of people that have been from the Holocaust on up to, I mean, the horrible things have happened to them. And then you see some of the things that Netanyahu has done in that region to other people. It's bad. And then you go, well, Hamas is in here and they're fucking, you know, and it's like, there's no, it's a knot. It's a knot. That's why I don't love talking about it, you know, because there's no way, you can't take a side that doesn't have some fault in another side of something else. So that's why it's so complicated, that whole fucking thing. What were his political aspirations? He was pretty close to some political people who Charlie Kirk. Yeah. I don't think he ever wanted to be a politician himself. He wanted his Judeo-Christian ways. He wanted his conservative ways to be the way of the world, which I don't agree with. I mean, listen, there's some great things about Judeo-Christian lifestyles, but it's not for everybody. The thing I never agree with on Charlie Kirk is he was like, you know, this is how it is. And like, in Jesus is my Lord. And I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. I don't, but I also believe that you can not believe in it. And I also don't think it's my fucking responsibility or problem or fault or, you know, place in life to tell you about Jesus and get you to follow Jesus. If you're Jewish, great. If you're a Muslim, great. Like, good. Buddhist, atheist, I'm fucking excited for all of you people. I don't give a shit what you believe in, you know? And he wasn't like that. And he was very opposed to a lot of like, again, the transgender thing. I'm a boring, straight old guy. It's not my thing. But if you want to do that, and you know, go ahead. Again, I have transgender friends, and I treat them like every other. Like, great. I'm happy that you finally found your place. Like, awesome. You know, and for those who have found their place and then found that they wanted to go back to the original place, well, good for you too. I don't give a shit. It's your life. Tattoos, transgender surgery. I don't give a fuck. If you're old enough to make the decision, great. Charlie didn't feel that way. Those are the things I disagreed with him on, you know, but he was a significant person. He did some, I can appreciate somebody building something out of nothing over years and years and years of work, even if I don't agree with it whatsoever. And I think it's important to say that, and it's important to say that now more than ever. He wanted the Epstein files to be released. Epstein was Mossad. Tim, again, let's say I believe you 1,000%, which I think Charlie Kirk said he wanted the Epstein files released numerous times. 1 billion people have said that. I don't think it was, And as powerful as he is, Charlie Kirk was, I should say, still not. I still don't think it's like we got to fucking get rid of this. I don't think he was that much of a problem. I don't think he was a problem to Netanyahu. I don't think he was that much of a problem to Trump, who got him elected, helped really deliver Pennsylvania and a lot of other locations for him. The ground game that Charlie put together was amazing. It was amazing. I don't believe the conspiracy theories. Now, I said this in the beginning, and I want to share it with you. The dude who killed Osama bin Laden, the Marine, I forget his name. Somebody will have it. You guys will have it. I saw him on a show, and he, again, was talking about the microphone pack and all these little theories. And I was like, but he said something interesting, and I believe both of these things. People have looked at Tyler Robinson. Is that his name? I don't even know if I have his name. I can't even fucking remember his name. People looked at the Charlie Kirk alleged assassin, and they said, like, oh, could you from 200 yards away? And here's a Marine. And I've heard a lot of other gun experts say this, that is, believe it or not, an easy shot. I don't know if that's true or not. Again, I shot a 22 when I was like 8 years old, and I was fucking hitting targets all the way in the back. Like, I remember, like, I was lighting up the shooting range. My family was in Pennsylvania. We went one day, and I would tell my dad, I'm like, that little tiny duck thing, I'm going to hit that. And I'd shoot it, and then ping, they'd hear it. Like, everybody was amazed that I was such a good shot. I'm like, do you guys see what I do on fucking Duck Hunt? I'm murdering on Duck Hunt. That was the difference. Like, I was playing against like all teenagers and like my dad and all his friends, and they couldn't hit shit. I'm like, I'm in there fucking 4 hours a day shooting fake digital birds, honing my skills while you guys are out working and going to school and shit like that. That's why I crushed it. But my point is, I can believe gun experts when they say like anybody with a clear shot could hit a body. And the Marine dude, he was like, he's like, I'm a sniper. He's like, if you give me that chance, he goes, you pick a nostril and I'll put it right there if I have to, which I could believe. I could believe that. But at the same time, he had an issue. He took issue with how Charlie fell and how he moved, after the fact.
That's an easy shot. Yeah, even for someone, I think.
Rob O'Neill, right? I'm pretty sure Rob O'Neill was the one who killed Osama bin Laden, right? All right. He was on Piers Morgan, not a podcast. Here's what he had to say.
That's an easy shot. Yeah, even for someone, I think they throw the word sniper around almost as much as they throw the word hero around way too often. Anyone with a hunting rifle, a 30-06 like that's an easy shot. 200 yards as a sniper, which I am. You pick which nostril you want, and I'll put it in it. So that's easy. The issues, just for me, I mean, it was off right from the beginning for me. Do we not guard rooftops anymore? There's been assassination attempts all over the world. Right. Why aren't we looking at rooftops?
By the way, brilliant point. Like, how do these gunmen keep getting to a rooftop? How does this keep happening?
And then when I was sent the video with this at the same message where they said Charlie Kirk was just shot. When I watched that horrific video, he was obviously dead before he hit the ground. But the questions immediately started to come to me. That was not an entry wound that we saw. We saw an exit wound. So where'd that bullet come from? You don't bleed like. And I've shot guys closer than the camera was. And an entry wound doesn't look like that. An exit wound does. Why did his shirt move the way it did? When I've shot people, their shirts didn't move like that. And then the initial reaction was, well, he was obviously wearing body armor and it was deflection. One, no. He wasn't wearing body armor. And two, it doesn't deflect like that off of body armor. Why was his shirt moving from right to left? Why were people being interviewed saying, yeah, they came from my left to right, from his right to left, immediately shut down? And then did they tear the crime scene down immediately? They, just right off the bat, from seeing it, knowing he was dead, saying a lot of this is bad, not even getting into the soliloquy of text messages that 22-year-olds don't send their trans lover. So immediately, the official story sounds like it needs to be investigated. But now, the whole crime scene is gone. They paved over it. Nothing to see here. That's an easy shot.
I mean, again, I don't know what the pavers have to do with anything. You know, if you're going to see explosive residue or whatever, I mean, that stuff's going to be on his shirt. It would have been on his body. We would have seen it. There would have been an autopsy. If that's part of the cover up, okay, fine. You know, but I just, it's when he said the exit wound, entry wound was strange to me. That's what stood out to me the most. You know, is that I don't know. You know, I mean, this is you're talking to a guy who killed people for a living. He would know what it looked like. I'm still waiting to find an expert. Believe me, I'm searching for it on a daily basis. I'm still waiting to find an expert to be like, oh no, it could happen that way. This is why, and blah, 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 and so on and so forth. You know, I've not found that person yet. Not to say that they're not out there. You know, we might find them, but I haven't found them just yet. You know, I haven't found them just yet. What were the Charlie Kirk text messages that were weird? I remember seeing some of them. Let me bring this up here. So, like, but the exit, that's the thing that makes me, and again, from a Marine, and I don't know if he's crashed out and he's just become a conspiracy theory person. I don't doubt that he's a hero, but I know that, again, this is our crazy world right now. You can't just go on and talk common sense. You got to go on there and be like, this is what's happening. It's fucking crazy. And they're pulling you got to be like that. Just get into that. Even heroes of ours, even heroes. All right, let me see here. Charlie Kirk, alleged text messaging, and discuss his rifle, possible motives, details of roommate, the court prosecutors, blah, the room. Okay. Tyler Robert and found that I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it. Roommate, what? You're joking, right? I am still okay, my love, but I'm stuck in Orem for a little while longer yet. Shouldn't be long until I can come home, but I got to grab my rifle still, to be honest. I had hoped to keep this a secret till I died of old age. I am sorry to involve you. You weren't the one who did it, right? I am sorry. I thought they caught the person. No, they grabbed some crazy old dude, then interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle from the drop point shortly after, but most of that side of town got locked down. It's quiet, almost enough to get out, but there's one vehicle lingering. Why did I do it? Yeah, I had enough of this hatred. Some hate can't be negotiated out. If I'm able to grab my rifle unseen, I will have no evidence. All right, I'll tell you the weird part about this is he hoped to keep it a secret till he was old, but left a note under his keyboard. I can see people, you know, being suspect. I can see that. You know, I could see that. Roommate said, how long have you been planning this? A bit over a week, I believe. I can get close to it, but there's a squad car parked right by it. I think they already swept that spot, but I don't want to chance it. I am wishing I had circled back and grabbed it as soon as I got to my vehicle. I'm worried what my old man will do if I didn't bring back Grandpa's rifle. I don't know if it had a serial number, but it wouldn't trace to me. I worry about prints. I had to leave it in a brush where I changed outfits, didn't have the ability or time to bring it with. I might have to abandon it and hope they don't find prints. How the fuck will I explain losing it to my old man? Only thing I left was the rifle wrapped in a towel. Remember how I was engraving bullets? The fucking messages are mostly a big meme. If I see notices bulge UWU on Fox News, I might have a stroke. All right, I'm going to have to leave it. That really fucking sucks. Judging from today, I'd say Grandpa's gun does just fine. I don't know. I think it was a $2,000 scope. Delete this exchange. My dad wants photos of the rifle. He says Grandpa wants to know who has what. The feds are releasing the photo of the rifle, and it's very unique. He's calling me right now, not answering. Since Trump got into office, my dad has been pretty diehard MAGA. I'm going to turn myself in willingly. One of my neighbors here is a deputy for the sheriff. You are all I worry about, love. I'm much more worried about you was a response. So all that I read to you was all Tyler, not the final response you got was I'm much more worried about you. Don't talk to the media, please. Don't take any interviews or make any comments. If any police ask you questions, ask for a lawyer and stay silent. It's strange. You know, it's strange. I don't know. Again, I'm of the mindset, honestly, that if a wife or a husband winds up dead in the house, they're most likely in the kitchen, and it was most likely their significant other who did it. You know, if Tyler Robinson really didn't do it, would he go down? Like I guess it depends on what his defense is and everything like that. I will say the other thing that really weirded me out too was the prosecution being like, "Hey, we need more time to put our case together." Like, do you? Because this feels pretty. I mean, I feel like if I got this in front of a jury, much like my good pal Vincent LaGuardia Gambini, I could fucking lock this up in a couple days. You know, I mean, if you really have the towel and the DNA evidence and all that stuff, you should be able to this should be a slam dunk. So I don't know why they were asking for more time. That weirded me out a little bit. But other than that, I mean, I don't know. Can't wait to read Ant's text messages after a crime. That's. Again, did I tell you guys the other day? I was telling Frank and Erin something about the trip, and it was about cuddles, and then I felt so bad that I said that without her knowing that I had to go to her and tell her right away what it was. I don't do well with some of those things. But however, I maintain this to be true. If Frank murdered somebody and showed up at my door covered in blood, I'd be like, get inside. We're going to get you washed up. We're going to handle this like we're going to take everything we've ever learned from Goodfellas, Godfather, and Donnie Brasco, and we are going to fucking keep you out of handcuffs for as long as we possibly can. But then I'm going to say this to him at some point in the evening. I'm assuming it's in the evening. I'm going to be like this. You know, if any cops show up, I'm going to give you up immediately, right? Like, I'm not going down for this. You can stay here as long as you like, but I'm going to claim I knew nothing. And, if anybody knocks on the door, I'm going to be like, who? I don't really. You can take a look around. We have a lot of wild parties. I'll just say some shit like that. Paul says no Mormon is going to use his grandpa's gun. Is he a Mormon? I don't even know. It's crazy. People flip out and shoot other people. You wish it didn't happen, but that's kind of what happens. So there's a couple things about the Charlie Kirk unfortunate tragedy that bother me from a conspiracy theory point. I'm still not ready to blame Israel like Candace Owens is. I'm still not ready to be like, it was a small DJI microphone that did it. Like, again, the signal of that guy in the brown shirt, it's after the shot and Charlie's reaction. The text messages are a little strange. The exit wound, entry wound is a little strange. But again, everybody who's like, it came from another direction, like there's footage of us, we can see the back. Does his shirt move a little strange? I still think all those things are possible coming from that area. Now, will new information come to light and we'll find out something new? It's possible. But right now, everything I'm seeing, I'm like, I don't know. I think the official story is still the story for me. Again, the only thing I'm looking for is that expert. And if anybody finds it, I'm like FBI, CIA, military, whatever. Somebody with some sort of credentials and credibility that say, I know it's strange, but that's exactly how. And that it is possible that a bullet could enter his neck, not come out the other side, push blood out like that. And it's all possible. Not likely. We don't see it a lot, but and again, judging by I need a little forensic breakdown of where exactly they were on the roof and all that shit. Because there is video footage of somebody walking around the roof up there. But it's crazy, this whole roof thing. Let's go to the cops sneaking into the Ryder Cup story. You're like, Aunt, who gives a shit if a cop snuck into the Ryder Cup? You know, there's probably 30 cops that snuck into the Ryder Cup. It's a Long Island event. Long Island people get drunk and do stupid things all the time, especially if they could do it outdoors, especially if they could do it around a golf course. But an NYPD detective allegedly showed up at the Ryder Cup in full gear and claimed he was working security for President Trump while out on sick leave. This again, according to the New York Post. Detective Melvin Eng, who is now facing administrative charges for theft of services, may have even gotten away with the golf course ruse had he not dropped his gun magazine in the grass in front of real security personnel, according to law enforcement sources and NYPD documents. You're out sick. What are you doing at the Ryder Cup? One ticked off veteran cop said about Eng's alleged stunt. You can't do that, and it's theft of service because you went in for free and then you lied and said you worked for Donald Trump. Eng, 46, who is president of the NYPD Asian Jade Society, allegedly showed up at the Farmingdale tournament on Friday in full tactical gear and complained he was working security for the visiting president. According to sources, Eng even claimed that he was working for the feds. That was enough to get him into the popular tournament until he dropped his magazine and got booted. And he was suspended on Monday for the stunt, according to NYPD paperwork. What if he was looking to hurt someone? Another police source said he got in there with his gun, past the Secret Service, past the state police. And that's exactly the reason why I bring this up today. I read this and I go, it will be a miracle if President Trump makes it out of this 4-year term alive. It'll be a miracle. It will be a miracle. Forget Butler, PA. Forget the guy down at his golf course. Forget God knows how many other countless times, because we always hear about this shit well after the fact, right? Like I remember when Obama got out, it was like, hey, here was 4 times Obama almost got clipped. Forget about all the times we're not hearing about at the moment. But if this NYPD officer seems like he just wanted to be a guy on the golf course. But again, you're talking about a person armed with a weapon who can get into any area. I don't know how close he got to the president. It doesn't, from this report, it doesn't say that he got too close. But if he wanted to, I don't know what's happening with security at the moment. Listen, Charlie Kirk, he had 6 security guards. He felt like it was enough, even though he had received death threats. It was a mistake. It clearly was not. But I'll say again, like I've said countless other times, up until the moment I saw the bullet enter Charlie Kirk's neck, I never thought that it would happen that way. And I'm sure a part of him thought it wouldn't go that far, ever. And you never think it will until it does. Same thing about, I was talking to my kids about 9/11 the other day. Because again, they're 8 and they're 10. So they're just learning about it in school. So we had one of those moments. It was actually like a nice family moment, even though it was over a tragedy, where they were kind of giving us what was it like? Like they were genuinely, we literally had a 45-minute conversation. It was actually one of my fondest family memories because we sat there. Nobody was on an electronic. The television wasn't on. We were actually here in the studio. Everything was off. And the 4 of us, my wife and my 2 kids, we just sat around and we were just chatting. We were just talking. And my son and my daughter, the basic gist of this was, they were like, this was obviously really bad. They understood that. I don't think they really fully, again, they're 8 and 10. They didn't understand the full gravity of how many people we lost. Because we were trying to say, like, here in New York, especially in Queens, where we grew up and where we were at the time in 9/11, like you couldn't drive 5 or 10 blocks in any direction without seeing somebody who had a memorial out or who knew somebody. Like it was everywhere. Like the deaths, although 3,000 might not seem like a big number to a kid who's playing video games with millions of points at stake, right? Might not seem like a big deal, but we were kind of like, it was kind of everywhere. And it was very alarming. And one of them asked, like, well, had this ever happened before? And then we had to explain to them the 94 attack. and everything. And my father was actually down there after the attack to help fix, stuff for the phone company where he worked for. So it was kind of like telling them all these stories. And then they were kind of like, well, did people ever steal planes before? And we were like, yeah, hijacking was a thing. People would do it. They would hold the plane hostage, though. They never really flew it into anything. They would kind of hold it hostage or kind of go to other places to get themselves out of trouble or whatever it was. But hijackings were a thing. And you could tell like the gears in their mind were running, and they were kind of like, well, if hijackings had taken, stealing planes, as they call it, stealing planes was possible. And if there was already somebody who tried to blow it up, like, why were you so surprised? And it was this wonderful moment because you realize it's like, it's like a human condition thing. It's possible. All these, like when from a kid's theory, like from a kid's logic of, well, yeah, I could see how this would, look at all the progression. But when you're in it and you're living it, you go, up until we saw those planes hit the buildings and we saw those buildings go down, you could never fathom that would actually happen in real life, So it's the same thing with this. It's like with Charlie Kirk, but like when you look at the president of the United States, especially this one, it's a lot of close calls. Now, again, this police officer, again, maybe he just wanted to have a day drinking at the golf course and use his shit to get in. But what if this was a guy who had lost his mind on the force, or a girl or whatever, and he gets close enough? How many I like to take down the Secret Service or shit like that, but it's like, we got a lot of close calls here. A lot of close calls. This can't keep happening. You can't feel good about again, if I'm laying money down, I'm not betting on, I can't, even if it's $5, I cannot bet on the fact that this guy walks away from the White House in 2028 when he's done. How could you with all this stuff? Now, again, all right, police officer, but I feel like there's got to be such a tight perimeter around this guy at this point that you can't allow for even an inside job to do that because, okay, this was a person on the police force and he's leader of the Asian Police Association or whatever the fuck they called it. Probably a decent guy. Again, he made a mistake. He just wanted to go to the golf outing. But what's to stop somebody from just going to the getting a police uniform? Getting a badge, stealing a badge from somebody, or getting a fake enough badge, wearing all the gear, rolling in there. Look at the one who the killing is in Minnesota. That guy was decked out in police gear. When he knocked on the door of that poor woman, that politician, and he killed her and the husband, it looked like he was a police officer. That happens at the Ryder Cup when the president is there? Am I the only one a little like, what the fuck's going on here? I mean, again, the NYPD and all that stuff. But to me, I would be like, hey, Secret Service, let's gather for a meeting. What's going on here? Because maybe these guys weren't in the same area, but to me, they shouldn't have even been in the same golf course. That was enough to be like, how did we let this guy get in here and do this? You can't just fucking let people walk by. I would imagine that there's pretty tight security. Trump's nuts because he keeps going to UFC fights and golf outings and football games and all these like open, like, the security detail, they must be pulling their hair out. They need a homebody president. I feel like the Secret Service just needs 4 years of a president that doesn't like to leave the White House all that often. Likes to just hang around in the basement and shit like that. Go bowling and go in the pool and all those cool, fun rooms we hear about in the White House that we've never actually really seen pictures of. I think there used to be pictures of the bowling alley, but I think it's gone now. So that is an alarming thing to me. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. I can't believe how many people are actually interested in this story. A lot of crazy comments too about what happened between these two and what's going on with them. But Nicole Kidman had her first, public outing since the news spread that her and Keith Urban have split. Her younger sister, Antonia, they were together, seen going on a hike in Nashville earlier today. Pictures of the two of them were captured and obtained by the Daily Mail. They both look nice. They were in some deep conversation. They were cracking a smile in one of the photographs. Nicole reportedly laughed with her sister as they hiked for miles on a trail not far from the Big Little Stars mansion, or Big Little Lies Stars mansion. The Daily Mail said at times she gesticulated expressively. At others, she linked arms with her sister and placed her hands on her heart. Antonia, who's 55 years old, has been Nicole's main source of support during this difficult time, People magazine reported. Nicole's sister has been a rock, and the entire Kidman family has come together to support one another. Yeah, divorces blow, man. Even for super famous people. Supposedly, Kidman didn't want the split, though. Even though she officially filed for a divorce from the country singer, citing irreconcilable differences just yesterday. The date of the separation is listed as date of filing, which means September 30th. So there's the latest on those two. But the comments section, because we talked about this the other day, and then one of our clips kind of caught a little tiny viral moment, not hugely viral, but little tiny viral moment.
Sources told TMZ the
And let me see here. People are saying he had a side piece. Baby Girl did her in. I bet it was Baby Girl. Who the fuck is Baby Girl? That and Baby Girl. People keep. Who's Baby? Does anybody know who Baby Girl is? I don't know who Baby Girl is. Is that his side piece? Does anybody know in the live chat? I have to talk about this too. Any photos of Urban in motels? Divorce is terrible. Cheating. She filed. Yeah. I don't know. Somebody's got to tell me who Baby Girl is. And then this person said something interesting. You lose them like you found them, Keith. Did he cheat on somebody else with Nicole Kidman? Did that happen? Is Baby Girl a movie? Oh, was Baby Girl the movie that that she bangs Zac Efron in? Is that her last movie? Is that the one with the Efron thing that caused him to leave the Zoom call? When an older woman does a sexy movie like that, that's actually kind of gross. It seems like they are soon leave their husbands. That from golda.my.ear. Oh. Nicole, she's like 50, whatever, 60. She's not gross. Give me a break. There's nothing wrong with older women. He resents interviewing, asking about Nicole. No, he can't handle that. That's Mr. Nicole. Yeah, I mean that's a tough spot. We talked about that yesterday. That's a tough spot to be asked. Like, hey, how do you feel about your wife pretending to bang this much younger, better looking guy? I mean, that's not the way the interviewer asked it, but they might as well be asking it that way, you know? Oh man, we are running late on time. All right. Let's play the clip of this New York City radio station that let the porn out on the air. You gotta love these fucking people. We have a all news channel called 1010 Wins here in New York. And the reason why it's called 1010 Wins is because it used to be on 1010 on the AM dial. And because radio is so backwards and stupid, now 1010, Wins News is on 92.3 FM, if you can fucking believe it. And our pals over at Shitty Radio Jock, which is an account that I follow because it kind of tells you about all the shitty things in the radio business. Somebody remind me to come back to Robin's comment, because I do want to just touch on that quickly. they're on 92.3 FM now, and they were kicking it. Oh, so anyway, I'm sorry. Shitty Radio Jock. They put out all the shitty stuff that happens in the radio industry. So I've been following Shitty Radio Jock for a long time. I think Brian the Cannon Bannon put me onto them. But anyway, they were doing a report yesterday, and they go to toss to weather, and then all of a sudden there's like a porn scene that I guess maybe showed up video wise in their studio, and the audio went over the air, which for somebody in my position, radio host turned podcast host, could not give me a greater joy. I got such enjoyment out of hearing that they fucked this up. I wish I was a better person. You know, I do. I wish I was a better person. Surprise, I'm not. I quite enjoy Shitty Radio Jock. I think they do a great job. I don't know who Shitty Radio Jock actually is, like who their real identity is. I feel like there was like once or twice where I was like, that's a little much. I wouldn't have done that one. But for the most part, they really expose all the shitty people in radio, which, by the way, that could keep you going for years. I mean, there are so many shitty per capita. There's not an industry that's filled with more shitty people than the radio industry. But anyway, let's go back. Let's take a listen to this. Let me refresh this so you guys can hear it from the beginning. This is again from yesterday on 1010
Wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
After another pretty warm day today, Lori, it is going to be cooling off quite a bit over the next few days, including tonight. The breeze is going to be picking up, and it is going to be cooler as it turns out, clear to partly cloudy.
No, yes. Oh. Dude, are you coming right now? I am. Don't look at me. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Wait, unplug it, maybe. Unplug it.
I don't know where that's coming from, Greg, but it seems to be we have another station on the air here. What is... I can't even...
Greg!
Craig got some experience.
Try this again. We are getting a lot of interference right now on the line, but we're going to try to connect now with AccuWeather's Brian Thompson. Brian.
Well, Lori, we do have a breezy, cooler night in store for tonight. It is going to turn out clear to partly cloudy. We'll get down.
FreezeRate.com. Greg Rice, 1010 Wins at 92.3 FM.
Let's get a check of your AccuWeather forecast. Here's meteorologist Brian Thompson.
After another pretty warm day today, Lori, it is going to be cooling off quite a bit over the next few days, including tonight. The breeze is going to be picking up.
It is again.
And it is going to be cooler as it turns out, clear to partly cloudy.
No, yes. Oh. Dude, are you coming right now? I am. Don't look at me. Oh, God. Oh, yeah. Wait, unplug it, maybe. Unplug it.
I don't know where that's coming from, Greg, but it seems to be we have another station on the air here. What is... I can't even...
I don't know who the jock is, but I feel so bad for her. Wait, this is good.
Try this again. We are getting a lot of interference right now on the line, but we're going to try to connect now with AccuWeather's Brian Thompson. Brian.
Well, Lori, we do have a breezy, cooler night in store for tonight. It is going to turn out clear to part.
We got to give Brian some credit. Oh my God, I'm coming. Are you coming? Oh my God, I'm coming. I don't know where that's coming from. Brian weather? Well, it's going to be breezy tonight. He just is like, just mowing. If that were me, I'd be like, we have to talk about this. Like, how do you not comment on that? Oh my God, are you coming? It's going to be breezy and cloudy. Like, who gives a shit about the weather? I also like how she played it off like we're getting interference from another station. Are you? Because one of your engineers or your weather person or Craig, whoever Craig is probably on some site they shouldn't be. I don't think it's coming from another radio station. What other radio station are you getting interference from? But Porn FM? What the fuck are you talking about? But listen, I've been there, not in this particular arena, but I know what it's like when you're just like, wait, where's that coming? Like when some weird sound is going on and your whole thing is just collapsing and you're just like, you're just panicking. that has definitely happened to me. Again, not with porn on the air, but like with other things, like a weird random, or you're playing a song and then you're trying to hear another song off the air to cue it up for the next thing, and that goes out over the, like, shit like that happens all the time. You panic and you make some mistakes and stuff like that, but never. And just the way that, like, I guess there was like some questions on whether or not the young lady was having an orgasm. And then I think she says at one point, "Don't look at me." Is that what she says? Because that's fucking hilarious. I don't know what sex scene was sort of taking place there, but if one person was asking the other person if they were having an orgasm and her response was, "Don't look at me." It reminds me of Seinfeld when Kramer's like, "Look away, I'm idiots." Oh, shit. You know what's funny is some of these comments coming in from you guys. Somebody's getting fired. Yeah, not necessarily in radio. That's the weird part. That's why that thing is so strange. That industry is, somebody might be getting a raise off of all of this, Where's it blowing in tonight, Brian? Did you see the guy? Oh, there's a guy right here, Darren_FM, who writes, "Today we're expecting loads of rain." That's pretty funny. That was pretty good. Anyway, that went right over the air on New York City radio yesterday afternoon. So interesting times. We live in interesting times. I thought that was great. Yeah, you look at all the stuff that Jimmy Kimmel's gotten in trouble for and all those FCC scares and all that kind of shit. Where's the FCC going to be on this one? Because somebody was in that studio somewhere or at home or whatever, and they clicked on some webpage that they weren't supposed to, and everybody got to hear it. That's embarrassing as fuck. Who was the guy on CNN that got caught whacking it on a Zoom call? Remember? Like, that shit is so embarrassing. It is so fucking embarrassing. How do you look at people the next day? I just don't even. I remember when the CNN guy came back like 3 years later. Didn't he come back for once? And then they were like, "Yeah, everybody just pictures you whacking it. We can't have you on the." I think they let him go shortly after that. So again, I don't know who Craig is, but lots of luck to you. That was quite a scene that you were playing for everybody. Quite a scene. I'm pretty sure we got to hear it again.
Don't look at me. Oh, God.
I think she says, "Don't look at me." Oh, God. I don't know why I find that so funny. Other than the Kramer tie-in, the whole "don't look at me." Oh, my God. That makes me laugh. That really, really makes me laugh. Oh, this is good. Oh, someone got a raise. Yeah, that's good. All right, so you heard the porn clip. Speaking of Seinfeld, I came across this clip from a podcast, and I would give him credit, but who gives a shit? Doesn't really make a difference. But it was like I guess one of the costume people or props people, and they were recounting a story in the early days. Again, this is according to this person. I don't know how true this is. I'd love to back it up. I'm putting this out there just to kind of get confirmation. I'm being Candace Owens right now. I don't know if this is true, but I'm going to put it out there and clip it for everybody so they can get the wrong information. But I saw this clip that, they were filming the Seinfeld. I think it was the pilot or early on, whatever. I think it was the pilot. And George, the guy playing George Costanza, he goes, "I think George needs glasses." And the only part of this I don't believe is he was supposed to be playing Larry David, and Larry David had glasses. So I don't know if that came to whatever. But essentially, they come around to George needs glasses. And so they go to the prop department. And what had filmed at that time, or relatively close to that time, was Malcolm X, the movie. And so they had a pair of glasses that Denzel wore in Malcolm X, and they gave them to George. So those first few seasons that George is wearing glasses, he's actually wearing Malcolm X's glasses from the Malcolm X movie. Isn't that interesting? Like, not actual Malcolm X's glasses, but still, it seems weird to me that a prop in a movie as serious as Malcolm X became the centerpiece of a character in the Seinfeld show. I think that's just, I don't know what that says about society or the world, but it says something. There's something philosophically interesting in there. Did Pete Hegseth gather all the military personnel just to say you can't be fat or liberal anymore? Was that? Because I'll be honest with you. Again, I've been running around with the kids and doing a lot of stuff. Haven't really been paying as close attention to things. Also trying not to pay too close. Like when that meeting first came in and everybody was speculating that it was part of a war, I was paying attention. When it became clear that it wasn't, I was like, is this what this guy is really doing? Like, everybody's experienced those meetings where they could have been an email. Every member of that audience had to be thinking, did we just gather every big, huge general to come in here? And like, this could have been an email. It could have. Thank you, Paul. It could have been, right? I mean, that's not a gather all the world military leaders together, or, the U.S. military leaders all across the world, gather them together to tell them, guess what, everybody, we're not going to be fat anymore. And we're going to, I forget, does he say no beards? They're going to shave. We're going to shave and not be fat. I mean, I understand, like, hey, our military needs to be tougher. I get that. I get why people would like that. But at the same time, it could have been an email. Again, you could have. This is what I think this administration doesn't understand, is that literally 70% of the people, maybe 80%, don't really give a shit about what you do on a daily basis. They want to live their lives. They want to take their kids to soccer practice. They want to have a steak, swap handies with their significant other. They want to get lucky a couple times a week, watch a funny show, hang out with their friends, have a few beers, and just enjoy this life, right? We don't really give a flying fuck what all the politicians are doing. We prefer, most of us, sane people, would prefer not really knowing too much. Like, just let them run every 2 or 4 years. I'll vote on somebody and then I'll see how they do. That's kind of what we do. We don't need to know every step of the way. Not everything needs to be a fucking press conference. Like, he could have sent that stuff out and it would have been, people would have been like, oh, that's weird, but okay. Like, do we know what we paid to fly all those people in and to do this big look at me show? Because that's exactly what it was. Is it insensitive stuff for people in the military? Sounded like it. Would the women of the military have problems with it? Sounded like it. Would the overweight people in the military have a problem with it? It definitely, that's indisputable. There were a lot of fat generals there that were like, fuck, are you fucking kidding me? I can get on a treadmill now? This is bullshit. But even if you were going along with everything, even if you were up there going, yeah, to everything Pete Hegseth said, could you really argue with that all could have been an email? And resources probably would have been better spent having it just been a memo? Say, hey, everybody, we're going to put you on a treadmill twice a year, so you know. Also, I'd like you to shave. Also dress appropriately. By the way, there's also a nicer way to do it than the way that he did it. But I get it. We're in a new world. We're in a different world now. The right's having their moment. MAGA's doing their thing. Give them their space to do their thing. All that being said, saying that, let's go along with the fact, let's say that we all agree with everything he said. Even still, even the people who are in agreement must be like, that was an email. We don't all have to look at you, Pete, with the fucking American flag behind you and act like, oh, everybody, we're tougher now. They love PR, this administration. They love it. And then yesterday you see it and you go, there's a little too much. You love it a little too much. You know? Just like mention it to the people. Because you know what's going to happen. They're going to come across a fat fuck general, but who's really good. And then they're going to be like, all right, whatever. Let it slide. So John loves the donuts. Big deal. He's behind a desk. Let him get a little fat. You know? What's hilarious to me about all of this is we are literally entering the era of pilotless drones and, you know, Earth traveling missiles. Like, I feel like technologically we're at a point where we can send a missile around the Earth 17 times before we put it in somebody's backyard exactly without having any human beings involved at all. What do we need all the troops in shape for? For the ground assault that's like never going to happen? I know the Republicans right now are going to be like, "Are you fucking kidding me? Well, then you don't get to defend." Like, I get it's possible, but I mean, it has been a long time. And again, we are at light speed pace going to a place where airborne drones and tank drones and fucking robot soldiers are like, we're 5 minutes away from it. And now we're going to like, you want to put pressure on soldiers? Keep the fucking robot, the AI robot soldiers then. Make that a policy. Guess what? No AI robot should be overweight when defending the nation. Okay, that I can get behind. That's no problem. But it feels like, again, I feel like sometimes we're staring down the barrel of losing like anywhere from 40 to 60% of our workforce, military included, and we're pretending like it's all fine, like it's not going to happen. Where the job force is with AI, I literally feel like there are just chunks of ice on the deck of the Titanic, and we're all out there singing and dancing, going, "This is fine. Biggest, most unsinkable ship will be okay. Don't look at the fact that we're tilted right now, or we're, let's ignore all that stuff. Let's just sit here and listen to our music and pretend like it's all okay." That's where I feel like we are right now. And this dope is out there on stage like fucking Patton, acting like everybody better be thin. All right, that's it. That's all I got. That felt pretty good. It felt pretty good. Not the best one. Not the worst. You guys have we've done worse shows. You guys were great. Again, the cuck chair emoji will get me through the next 2 days until we get together again on Friday. Is this true? His tattoos disqualified? Yeah, wasn't he talking about individuality and fucking all that stuff? You're right, Robin. Wouldn't his tattoos disqualify him from that? Or is tattoos okay? Tattoos are okay. Pete should have just gotten up there and go, "Unless you look like me, you might get fired." So let's everybody try and fall in line, and then we'll go from there. Then we'll go from there. We'll see what happens. We'll see what works. All right, I will see you guys. We'll keep looking at the Charlie Kirk thing. We'll keep our eye on, of course, the Epstein thing. Nicole Kidman and Keith Urban. Keithman? Kidman? Keithman. I don't know why. They never had... You know what? You know why they didn't last? Benifer. They didn't have a good name. I mean, not like Benifer lasted, but usually you get a good name. It's a little quirky for a little while. All right, that's it for me. Appreciate you guys as always. We'll see you on Friday.
No meat potato salad.
Peace.
Maybe we should go now. Go ahead.